Hi, my name's Megan Morrison and I'm the CEO of Paratus Clinical, based here in Melbourne, but we are an Australia-wide site network. Over the 10 years that we've been functioning, we've worked on over 200 clinical trials, and that's across all of the sites that we have. So Brisbane, the Central Coast, so about an hour and a half north of Sydney, Blacktown in Sydney, and then we do have 2 sites in Canberra. One of them is focused on primary care and the other one is a dermatology site. Now here in Melbourne, we will be focusing on primary care, but also we're very excited that the Melbourne site will also cater for psychiatry and is specifically set up for psychedelics as well. We now have 5 clinics. Last week we opened the Melbourne site. We were very happy to have a number of our sponsors, both from primary care, but also the sponsors that we already have started to work with to bring psychiatry and particularly psychedelic studies here to our unit in Melbourne. So it has been purpose-built to be able to work on psychedelic studies, in addition to primary care, which is what we've done a lot of in the past. So that's vaccines, cardiovascular and metabolic, obesity, type 2 diabetes, sexual health. Over the time we've worked on all of these studies, and we'll be bringing those to Melbourne as well. But we are very lucky to have built this purpose-built site here and also attracted a really great team of experienced psychiatry researchers to the Melbourne site.
My name's Professor Paul Fitzgerald. I'm the director of the ANU School of Medicine and Psychology. Here I run a large and diverse school providing medical and psychology education and conducting research in those areas. I'm also a psychiatrist by background and have a very long track record of conducting clinical research in psychiatry alongside my clinical practice. My role in Paratus is providing senior level academic leadership that involves helping determine the range of treatments that we're engaged in, the types of trials that we conduct, understanding the implications of the protocols for our facility and what we might be able to do, and providing senior level mentorship and support for our other investigators and trial staff.
My name is Bernadette Fitzgibbon. I'm the Director of Psychiatry Research at Paratus Clinical, and I also hold an Associate Professor appointment at the Australian National University. I have been in clinical research for about 20 years in the mental health space, conducting research looking at well-being and how we experience the world, through to studies targeting mechanisms involved in clinical states, whether that's device-based or psychopharmacology therapies. I've worked with Paul now for close to about 20 years, so for most of that he's acted in a mentorship role for me. At this time, he's in Canberra and he takes the role as the lead psychiatrist who oversees the trials and supports the psychiatry team here in Melbourne. I am based in Melbourne, where I implement the trials and work alongside Paul to make sure that they are delivered successfully and to ensure the safety of all our study participants.
I've worked with Bernadette for many, many years, and she's a really outstanding academic, but also somebody who can lead and help facilitate the conduct of these clinical trials in the setting in Melbourne. I have a different role. Obviously, I have significant other responsibilities, but am able to act as a senior mentor to the psychiatrists that work within our facility to help lead and drive the sort of programs of research that we engage in and provide that general high-level academic leadership and support.
It's a branch of research that really is growing at the moment, particularly in psychedelic research, and I think mental health is a really unmet area regarding clinical research.
Fortunately, there has been a wave of potential new treatments coming through that we're seeing in the clinical trial space, which means we've been approached by a number of sponsors to deliver these trials, which is where we are best placed to do so as a psychiatry-focused clinical trial site.
Look, there's a real problem in mental health treatment in psychiatry and around the world. We have lots of established treatments, lots of medications, different forms of psychotherapy and the like, but generally speaking, those existing treatments are only effective for a subset of patients. There's really a significant treatment need for new therapies for psychiatric and mental health conditions. And unfortunately, over time, there has been a shrinkage of the facilities available to evaluate new treatments. Academic psychiatry is in somewhat of a crisis around the world. There are far fewer sites that are able to conduct clinical trials, both in Australia and internationally. And so that has a real consequence for slowing down our capacity to evaluate new treatments. And that's something we really need to fix with some degree of urgency.
By establishing a clinical trial site that's focused in psychiatry embedded alongside primary care, we're offering the ability to be a unique clinical trial space and establish ourselves within the research landscape to deliver novel therapies for people.
We have been working on building relationships, both with specialists and GPs who will be referring their patients into the clinic, but also building out the team that we have here. We've been talking to our sponsors and to CROs, and they're very excited about us having the presence here. And we already have a couple of studies lined up that I think actually will be starting here in the next couple of weeks.
This sort of generation of psychedelically based therapies that are coming about, that's really been led by trials showing that MDMA seems to have very significant therapeutic value in post-traumatic stress disorder. Psilocybin probably does in depression, and it's led to dramatic escalation of commercial interest. But that commercial interest has come at a challenging time because there are just no longer the trial sites to do the studies that are required to get those medications approved in Australia and in many places around the world as well. And so when companies in this space come to Australia and they want to do clinical trials, there are far few investigators doing psychiatry trials, far few sites, and very few sites where we can have the specific facilities that are required to do trials of psychedelic therapies.
We're very excited about the development of this new facility because it will provide a capacity that doesn't really exist in Australia at the moment. Historically, most clinical trials in Australia and internationally have been done by academics in academic centres, existing academic centres, often in public hospitals around the country. And there are just far fewer places where those sorts of studies can be done. This facility has been developed, one, in the community where patients can access it to come and participate in these sorts of clinical trials, but also establishing a clinical trial facility that allows us to do a whole range of innovative studies. It's specifically designed for a new range of medications that are becoming available and needing to be tested, but also doing that in a location that also has general medicine facilities, general practice and the like, allows us to again expand the range of studies that can be conducted, because often medications require evaluation in a general medical framework, but also where there's that psychiatric expertise. So we're combining general psychiatric expertise in clinical trials, the availability of the sort of the general medicine, but also specific facilities that suit a range of trials, for example, that are being conducted currently around evaluating new forms of psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy, which require dedicated rooms and dedicated facilities that just aren't widely available in other settings.